What's up guys, it's Jakiri again, back with another video. So I think we're at video number 8 at this point, and if you haven't already, be sure to subscribe, be sure to like the video, and leave a comment down below. Alright, so this video I just kind of wanted to touch on what my journey and experience has been like in IT so far. I know you may have a lot of questions. If you are finding this video, you're probably someone that is either in IT or interested in getting into IT. I just kind of wanted to touch on, what it's been like for me so far, and maybe what I've been through and what I've experienced, what I've seen, what I've learned will help you and help you get started as well, or will take you to the next level in your career. Yeah, I actually got my start when I was 18. I joined the military, the Navy, go Navy. Yeah, so I was actually deployed to a ship right out of my ITA school. My ITA school was 6 months. I spent that time in Pensacola, Florida. I learned A+ material, CCNA material, Windows material, and then just some Navy specific material as well. So I was lucky enough to go to a ship right out of ITA school, and I was deployed to Gaeta, Italy. Honestly, I didn't start out in regular IT help desk like I thought I was going to be. I got the rate as an IT, I got my job as an IT, but I didn't start there. I actually started out in like satellite communications, radio communications, and antenna work. But that kind of connected with shipboard networks as well, so I had to learn networking, and then just by way of me doing that, I kind of just fell in love with the networking and system administration aspect of it. And I mean, some things ended up happening on the ship, and it worked out to where as though I was able to move divisions after about 2 years of me just doing the radio communications work and focus solely on like system administration, network security, networking, and really just dive into those IT basics that I had already learned at first. So when I mean IT basics, in school we learn like OSI model, A+, how to subnet, what's an IP address, what's a router, what's a switch, what it does, how it interconnects. We were actually able to touch this stuff, implement it, configure it, do maintenance on it, and that was your entire job. So if you're an IT on the ship, you're responsible for the accounts, setting up accounts, managing those accounts, responsible for the security of the network, responsible for maintaining the network. That's your job. So I started out doing kind of like the help desk stuff just to get ramped up on the network. So doing trouble tickets, learning everything that I could to know about switch or router, Active Directory, GPOs, that sort of stuff. And then just by way of me doing that, I was finding myself on trouble calls, helping people restore their PST files or something like that, or their Outlook crashed, and just doing stuff like that. So it was real lower level at first, but I mean it was right for me at the time. I was just getting started, and it kind of allowed me to build on that foundation for my next couple of roles. So that ship, I learned VMware there. I learned how to configure VM. I learned how to do maintenance on a VM. System administration. It wasn't all. You have your on-prem stuff because it's a shipboard network, but you also are getting into so VMware. I'll just say that VMware. I learned a lot of VMware stuff, and then I learned Cisco stuff, and I learned BlackBerry, just mobile device management, just a lot of stuff that helped me in my next roles. So I ended up getting my CompTIA Security Plus certification after that point in time. Being on the ship, working in IT, network security is a big thing. Security is a defense, and it's important that we implement it, but not. You don't only have to know cybersecurity if you're trying to work in cybersecurity. Cybersecurity is also important as a user. So I was kind of covered on all fronts, as from a user's perspective, as someone who worked in IT and had to know about cybersecurity and how to secure networks, what to do to troubleshoot, what happens if we were ever attacked, or there was an intruder, or anything was to happen. So those are the things you kind of have to learn, and at a very young age I was exposed to it. So I got my Security Plus certification, I got certified, and at this point I'm like 4 years in, or 4.5 years in, I've gotten my CompTIA Security Plus certification, and at this point I'm getting out of the Navy just because I have other interests. I have things that I want to do with my life that it just didn't align with the Navy, but I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm grateful for the foundation that it helped set up for my life and my career, thus far. I ended up getting a job right after the Navy. Like I wasn't even out of the Navy before I got a job. And because of, security clearance, because of CompTIA Security Plus, because of prior experience, because of me knowing Linux, helped me get that job. And I spent a year and a half there. And what I did there, honestly, it was pretty interesting, because in storage was such a small part of, the shipboard network. Like, there's storage there, but it was such a small part of what I did on the ship. So I didn't have a lot of experience in storage, but I mean, they trained me, and because I had prior VMware experience, they were more than willing to take me on and train me on their products. So it was a company that built hardware, that sold hardware, and they also sold the software for that hardware for the storage solutions. And I learned a lot about just storage, backups, replication, data privacy, data protection, just data in general. And that helped me expound my knowledge on consulting, Linux, that type of work. And then I was really kind of just doing tier 1, tier 2 troubleshooting on the ship, like help desk type work. But when I got to the second role, it was definitely more advanced. It was definitely tier 3, tier 4. I was working directly with the escalation engineers, the designers of the product, the people who were really responsible for the products. By way of me doing that, I just kind of learned so much. I learned so much with me just doing trouble. I did probably like 13,000 trouble tickets during my time there. And some were easy, some were not. Some of those engagements were like 6, 7, 8 hour long engagements, but it allowed me to just get more familiar with people, more familiar with the infrastructure that's out there, more familiar with the different technologies that's out there, and then just be a better technician all around. So I was, just learning and eager to learn. All right, so, after that time at that company, I kind of just had experience in the cloud and working with Microsoft Azure's product. Azure was one of them. So I had prior experience with it, and it's crazy how it all works out, because my next position was like a security engineer working for Microsoft. And because I had a little bit of experience with their Azure product, and I had cybersecurity experience, and I just had previous IT experience, they trained me on their Defender for Endpoint product, and I fell into the world of endpoint detection, security, and response. And that was just, that was great, because I had, like I said, I had the foundation of all of this stuff, but I had never really dove deep into any of it up until just getting into those specific roles. So I was working at Microsoft. That was a contract role. I learned everything there was to know about Defender for Endpoint, Defender for Cloud Apps, just the whole Defender suite. And I got different Microsoft and Azure certifications like AZ-104, SC200, AZ-900, SC900. And that allowed me to get into my current role where I am now, and I am a security consultant for a government contracting company. And I love this role. I love the company. I love everything it is about what I do now. And honestly, I can say that everything that I've been through up until this point, everything that I've learned, the VMware, the Cisco, the Linux, the PowerShell, the coding, the Defender for Endpoint, the Azure, the switches, the routers, the configuration, the networking, the IP addresses, everything I have learned up until this point has been something that I've touched on or talked about or have to help my customers with at some point. So it all comes together, it all interconnects, and I guess that's something that I'll wrap up the video with and leave the video with is, don't get discouraged if you don't know everything just starting out. The job you start with will not be the job you end with if you want to be great in IT and if you want to have a long career in IT. It's much easier to get started into IT than it is to sustain a career in IT. So that's been my journey so far. Like I said, I'm a senior security engineer. I'm working on my architect level certifications. I'm 7 years in at this point, and the journey is just going to keep going from there. If you have any questions, or if you want to get into IT, or if you want to know anything, or I've touched on any of those technologies that you may want to know more about, definitely don't be afraid to send me a message, send me an email, or mark a spot on my calendar. I'll set out my contact information there where you can reach out to me, and I'll be more than willing to help with all of this stuff. So yeah, that's been me so far, and I can't wait to help you guys and let you know what I know. So yeah, that's all I have. Peace.